I'm Josh, and in this video we're going to talk about 4 patching ideas with this, the Moog Werkstatt-01. The Moog Werkstatt-01 is a little analog monosynth that comes as a kit, I guess unless you get it used from someone who's already assembled it, but it's a really nice little affordable box. Moog recently discontinued it. I'm not trying to tell you to go out and buy one. I just, because I'm making a video about it and it's kind of recent and has to do with the synth, I thought I would make sure I added it in here. On that topic, I bought this with my own money. I'm not sponsored by Moog or anything. Would be cool if I was. I'm not. And I want to add that these are just some patch ideas I had while I was playing around with the Werkstatt-01, but I'm not trying to present them as these are the most amazing patches or I'm a master of patching. I don't think that's the case. I'm really coming to grips with a semi-modular synth like this, and so it helps me to make a video like this, and hopefully it's going to be helpful to other beginners as well who are just looking for some simple ideas maybe to get started with patching on here. So let's get into it. So our first bit of Werkstatt patching is going to be making the filter track the keyboard. So the Werkstatt has a really nice low-pass filter, and I'll give you a little demo of it. So this is the saw wave coming out of the VCO. It's a nice smooth filter considering, how cheap the Werkstatt is. But what we're going to do is we're going to set it up so that the filter will open up a little bit more as you go up the keyboard. So the lower notes will sound like this, while the higher notes will sound like this. Except I won't need to turn the knob each time I go to play. And as a quick thing to note, I'm using the CV expander here. I think some of the earlier Werkstatt models did not ship with the CV expander. If you don't have this and you're just using the little connections that are covered up by the CV expander that use the little breadboard style cables, these same ideas will work. It'll just, it'll look a little bit different for you. But I'm going to take one of these patch cables and I'm going to plug it into the keyboard CV out and plug that into VCF CV in. That's the voltage controlled filter control voltage in. It's kind of a word jumble, but here's how it's going to sound. So I'm going to turn the cutoff down just a little bit. And when I play a note down here at the lower end of the keyboard, you can hear that I've got, it's filtering out some of the high end, but not up here. And it's going to seem a little more easy to notice as I play up the keyboard. And I'm going to turn the cutoff down a little more, and I'll turn the resonance up a bit. That was a very clumsy C scale. I'm still getting used to these little buttons. But so that's a fun way that you can have a little bit of character, changing as you go up the keyboard. And something I like to do with this as well is I turn up the glide so that the notes will kind of slide in and out of their filtered sounds. Now, hearing it like this in a demo is all well and good, but I wanted to show you it in a bit of a little simple musical context. So we'll use this patch and jam a little bit with the Volca sample, playing some drums and a bass line, just so you can hear how it might sound with another instrument going. And we're back. And now what we're going to do is we're going to try using the envelope to modulate the frequency of the LFO. So I'm going to take another patch cable. We'll use this white one this time. And I'm going to plug it into envelope generator out, into LFO FM in. So what is now going to happen is the envelope is going to change the frequency of the LFO. Now, if you don't have the LFO assigned to anything, it's not going to really sound any different. Here, I'll turn up the cutoff and I'll turn the resonance down. Yeah, it's not going to sound like anything versus if I unplug it. Sounds the same. However, if we tell the LFO to modulate something, you'll start to hear that with the envelope, it's going to slowly increase in rate. So what I like to do with this is I put it in pulse mode and I have it modulate the pulse width modulation. So if you think of like a square wave as being either like on or off, pulse width modulation just changes how long the ratio is between the times when it's off or the times when it's on. So over here in the VCO mod section, I'm going to turn it, well, it's already on LFO. I'm going to set it to pulse width modulation, PWM, and I'm going to turn it up. And you can hear that it's got a kind of like glitchy sound to it. I'm going to turn the attack up a little bit more, and I'll turn the rate down on the LFO so it'll be a little bit more noticeable. I'm also going to set, well, I already have it set, but I would suggest setting it to a triangle in the LFO section. You can hear it's quite a bit. You can turn the amount down to change that. And you can get these kind of like fun, strange sounds with that. So I thought the best way to show how this could sound in a musical context would be to grab my reverb pedal, add that to the Werkstatt, and just have some kind of like weirdo jam over a tape loop. Welcome back once again. What we're going to do now is actually just kind of building off of the idea that we just did of taking the envelope generator and sending it to the LFO's frequency. What we're now going to do as well is take the LFO's output and send it to the voltage controlled filter's input. See, the LFO is a low frequency oscillator, so if you get it oscillating quickly enough, you can get like a kind of audio rate sound. I'm actually going to unplug the envelope generator thing for a moment, just so that we can hear. So right now, if I hit a note, you can just barely hear something. I'm going to turn this up. And you can hear that is the LFO. It's set to a triangle wave. This is fun for a few different reasons, one of which is that normally you can't get a triangle wave out of the oscillator on here. The VCO up here is either a pulse wave or a saw, so it gives you a new layer of like sound creation, sound shaping possibility. But now if I send the envelope generator to the LFO's frequency modulator while we're listening to the LFO, it's going to sound a little, I'm going to be honest, a little freaky. And you might notice that no matter where I press on the keyboard, I'm going to get the same pitch. This is because the LFO's rate is not actually tied to the keyboard signals. Now, I played around with this a little bit. I actually had tried sending the keyboard CV out to the LFO's frequency in the hopes of maybe making the LFO playable, and then taking the LFO's output and sending that to the filter's audio in. But it doesn't seem to track the notes accurately. It does still sound quite cool though. So if you like random notes that are all kind of buzzing, you're welcome. So I thought with this, instead of like a traditionally musical context, I'm going to grab the reverb pedal once again, and we're just going to make some fun noises based on that. Before we go on to our fourth patching idea that I had planned out, I wanted to include a kind of bonus idea. I didn't want this one to be part of the 4 patches that I was, maybe advertising is the wrong word, but promoting in this video, because this one does require the CV expander. But what I've got here is just a 3.5mm Y cable. One end is connected with an adapter to the Moog Werkstatt-01's audio output. The other end is going into my little mixer audio interface. So I'm going to plug this into the LFO out, and you're going to hear the LFO start. I've got it set to a triangle wave, and I've tuned it to a C. What I can do now, which is pretty fun, is I can use it kind of as like a droning bass and play a melody over top of it. So that's another fun way that you can play around with the tools that you have on offer. And if I didn't have one channel of my audio interface devoted to my microphone, I could have had, one cable going from the LFO out into one channel and one cable going from here into the other. I had uploaded a YouTube short, which I'll link in the description, where I did this with some effect pedals, and you can actually get a really nice kind of lush sounding texture out of that. But anyway, let's move on. The final patch we're going to talk about is making a kick drum sound on the Werkstatt-01. And you remember that patch that we did where we took the LFO out into the filter, and then we took the envelope to modulate the LFO's frequency. Guess what we're doing? We are going to do that yet again. I'm going to first take the envelope out into the LFO frequency in. I am then going to take the LFO out into the filter. So you can hear we've already got those kind of funky revving sounds. So next I'm going to set the rate on the LFO about to noon, and I'm going to go over where it's the envelope. I'm going to turn sustain off. I'm going to turn attack all the way down and decay up just a little bit. And you can hear we have a little thudding kick, which is very fun to play around with. And because it's coming from the LFO, the pitch is going to be the same no matter what note you hit. Now I've tried this with the square wave as well, and it's a lot splashier and sounds a little more like chiptune-y, but I actually really like it with the triangle. It's got just a little bit of grit, but also it kind of has a authentic kick drummy sound, which we'll use as a kick drum for a little chill jam. So with that, we've talked about 4 and a bonus, patch idea for the Werkstatt-01. I hope you really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun making this video, playing around with it and finding these patches. If you had a favorite, please let me know in the comments, or if you have some other cool like patching ideas with the Werkstatt-01, let me know in the comments. And, kind of on that topic, if you enjoyed the video and you haven't already, please consider leaving a like and hitting subscribe to help support the channel. And with that, I think that we are done. I hope that you had fun, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.